Okay, good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, March 31st. The Board of Supervisor meeting will be closed to in-person visitors due to the proclamation that does not allow gathering more than 10 individuals at one time. Audio will be live streamed on the Mills County YouTube channel at the following website, www.youtube.com/channel, and a bunch of letters.
That's the best you can do on that one.
Public comment will be allowed at the allotted time. Those wishing to address the board must provide their name and where they're from in the meeting chat box at the time of public comment. Briefing on the COVID-19 pandemic conditions in the Mills County at various times of day as needed. No set times for these meetings. Emergency meetings may be called without 24 hours notice.
I was asked to place that on there by public health and the emergency management, just in case anything major arises and you guys need to be called in to
Good
sign
notice.
off or do anything. Okay.
I'm sure we'll meet a few times.
Probably.
Okay, let's get this party started. 8:15, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda and minutes and the liquor license renewals, if any?
And we do have a liquor license renewal. It is for East Stop in Emerson, and everything is here. It's just an actual yearly renewal.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, minutes, and liquor license for E-Stop.
And I second it.
We have a motion by Crouch and a second by Vinton. Is there any discussion on those? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have any visitor recognitions? Any questions from the visitors? Any questions?
Visitor comments coming in?
We have about a 30-second delay though, so that way don't.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. At this time, we can go through some supervisor updates. Most of the committees I'm on are running as smooth as they possibly can, so no new news at this time, but we're getting by.
Just curious, what is everybody using for your telecommunication,
We've-
or electronic, I should say?
We've used some Zoom meetings. We've done some telephone conference calls, email. Most of it's just been done by the phone. How about you, Mr. Crouch?
Most of mine have been by phone. We was told yesterday by two of my organizations that I sit on, we're going to Zoom next month. Just the purpose of people wanting to see one another. And okay, we will work through that. But the main one I sat on yesterday was with the ISAC Board of Directors. Some of the things that was discussed is they're going to make a new software for the voting coming up here in June. That has to be done. Some of the things that was discussed was reduced precincts that's going to take place. Basically, it's coming down from the state. The assessors asked, what about border review that's coming up in a month? And comments was that they'll make up their decision between now and 3 weeks. So whether they're going to go ahead and let them hold it. A big conference on, part of it was on HIPAA, what people can take home and work on and what they can't. There's some people feeling that people are dragging things out of the courthouses that they shouldn't be, so they're going to send out some memos on that. The Isaac golf tournament has been canceled. This fall, according to Isaac, or next spring, either or both of them, probably the supervisors and maybe 5 other departments will be having joint sessions at school. So, and that pretty well takes care of that one. SWIPCO, we're just trying to run course as normal. Nobody seemed to have too many problems the other day. They were just glad that nothing had shown up in southwest Iowa yet or in the state, in Mills County. There's 4 or 5 counties that we associate with that have problems or have had cases, and none of them wanted to interject how they was handling things because they was too new.
Uh-huh.
No
That's it?
comments.
That's it for me.
Had a phone conference with Golden Hills, and the main thing that we had talked about is of the cabins, Parks to People cabin. Now Pot and Harrison have their cabins installed. Of course, the grant money is going to be divided up in three ways, $350,000 between the three counties of Harrison, Pot, and Mills. Um, and our cabins should be arriving in Mills here soon, but things are happening, and hopefully maybe by summertime we can get some cabins coming in. And it's different just having a phone conference because you don't know who's talking, and yeah, so it makes it interesting.
You know,
I did want to comment on the election things that Supervisor Crouch brought up. The state has given us guidance. We could always combine precincts, but there used to be a lot of criteria as to how many we could have at one location. They have taken that part out for us. Mills County is going to, we have 11 precincts and we are going to bring them down to 4. We're going to be putting that information out soon. The Secretary of State has talked about doing an all-state mailing for absentee requests. They're totally encouraging the use of absentee balloting during the primary election, just because we don't know where things are going to be in June. And keeping people safe, I mean, we're getting guidelines on what we need to do in our precincts. So it's going to be pretty challenging, I think, coming up. We just need, support. We're hoping that, the people will understand why we've had to do this, and we'll still vote.
we'll move forward.
Great.
Till 8:30 here.
Good morning, Corey. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm just hunky dory.
Good to hear.
Just, we gotta get it in.
Okay, we are live.
Okay.
Okay, it's 8:30 a.m. This next item on the agenda is Mills County Engineer Corey Gaston. What do you have for utility reports, Mr.
No
Gaston?
utility permits this week.
Okay. The agenda discussion after that, don't you?
Yeah, I do, unless you want to do general discussion now.
And we'll follow the agenda that
Follow
way.
the
That way
agenda.
people, if they're trying to follow along. We will open the public hearing at 8:31. This is-
Change that then.
The public hearing is for the ordinance 2002, the amendment to add chapter 26 floodplain regulations. Is there any oral or written comments that have been received?
I have not received any. I don't know
Might give it
if public has
a
any.
20 seconds or
This
so.
is 9.
But it's okay.
I posted a link to the ordinance in the chat window. People wanna download it,
Oh, good. Thank you.
and it's on the county website as well.
Good.
I haven't received any comments in my office either.
Should we wait until 9:15 to do all this, or?
I don't think there's gonna be any. The main purpose, basically, is we're required to do this.
Yeah, this is for the National Flood Insurance Program to stay, I don't want to say involved, but
Stay in compliance.
there you go, in compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program. They have yearly
We've been waiting to
updates.
see this. We've been waiting to see that.
What?
They still haven't done it.
Yeah, but I know.
But yeah.
Yeah, so on April 20th, the new firm's flood insurance rate maps will become effective, and to stay in compliance and make sure that our county is eligible for the flood insurance program, we have to update our ordinance to match up with FEMA's regulations, so that's why we're doing this.
Okay. Should we just go ahead and make the motion? You wanna wait a few more minutes?
Well, we should wait to make sure we don't
All
have
right.
any other conversation. We started it a little early, but I can't see where anybody's really gonna have any concerns, maybe.
Okay.
So,
No one more comments so far?
It was published in the Opinion Tribune and in the Malvern Leader, and so that was a requirement and was published last week. So
And it's great, joyous reading.
It is, it's very interesting. If you're a surveyor, it is.
It's kinda like history for you, isn't it? Or
Right.
geography, I'm sorry,
Right, a
geography.
little bit of both. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the,
Close it. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 8:35.
I second it.
we have a motion to close the public hearing at 8:35 by Kraus, seconded by Vinton. Is there any discussion? No comments come in yet? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I really don't, I mean, as far as reading the ordinance, I don't think anybody really wants to hear it. Like, we've got it in plenty of places. If they wanna look at it, we'll
If
still
anybody
have.
needs a copy of it, so as you
Right.
listen, anybody needs a copy of it, we can get anyone a
Yes,
copy that
yes.
needs it, so,
And we'll have 2 more readings next week
Yes.
too, so.
yes.
As far as.
It has been reviewed by Iowa DNR as well, so um, they gave it the blessing. There's a guy through Iowa DNR who's reviewing most of the counties and cities' ordinances to make sure they do follow or meet the FEMA regulations and its compliance, so.
Should we wait 40 minutes for the next?
No, we're gonna have to wait till 10 for the public hearing is the only thing for the budget, unfortunately. because
Sure.
That was it. But I think you can. Or did you say that April 20th is when the new flood rates come out?
Yes, or that's when they become effective.
Become effective?
April 17th, sorry.
Oh, 17th,
April
sorry.
April 17th, this becomes effective, right?
Yes.
And that's when people will see their new rates come through. If there are any changes.
I would think so.
I'm just wondering if they're already in the midst of whatever they have, I wonder if they would see increases, or it'll just stay where it's at until their next renewal, maybe, I don't know,
That's a Fed
I don't know
deal.
how that works.
I'm not real familiar with individual flood insurance rates, how they're affected by.
The Fed sets
these.
them all, so it's all a flat rate. It's just whoever mark up after that for the people selling it could vary, but.
Our next item isn't, we'll approve this, and then our next item isn't until 10 o'clock when we have the budget hearing for the 2021 budget. And I tried to keep that as close together as I could, just because.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the ordinance of 20-02.
Second?
We have a motion by Vinton, second by Crouch, to approve the first reading of the ordinance 20-02. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 3-0. Our next agenda item will be at 10 a.m. We will go on a short break and we will be back live at 10 o'clock. Thank you. At this time, we'll have some general discussion from the county engineer. Corey, you've got the table.
Thank you. Maybe it's because people are home a little bit more currently. We've had some requests for or questions about the speed limit in the Lake Ohana area, especially on 229th Street, south of Barris. We're starting to see more and more houses in this development pop up, and especially with people being home, no school going on, weather getting nicer, I think more people are out and about, and it's becoming a little more noticeable whenever someone speeds down the road. Currently, we don't have it posted. By Iowa code, any residential area is 25 miles per hour. So, I'm having assistant go out, check things out, perform our study, and I'm gonna assume he's gonna come back that it's recommended we post it for 25 miles an hour. And that
Good.
shouldn't be a hard thing
Any
to
certain
do.
places you're thinking, Corey?
So we'll post it right off the intersection, and all of 229th Street will be 25 miles an hour to the dead end. When their new roadways go in here, Cattail Bend and Cayuse, those would also be posted 25, but probably just a single post for 25 for 229th Street. 230th Street seems a little more questionable how we should post that. A little bit longer, a little more spread out. Houses have a little more acres to each parcel. I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a closer look at it, but we will post it, whether it's 35, 25, but there's currently no speed limit signs posted for that area, and we would do the same speed limit from Barris Avenue south down to the T intersection, and
55 after that. 50,
45 after that,
45?
to match up with the south end of 230th Street.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So-
makes sense.
So it may be this is subject to change, but maybe 25 from Barris down to this T intersection, then bump up to 35 till we get by some of these houses, and then go 45.
It is a congested area, so.
Safety obviously is the main concern, and just thought I'd give you a heads up in case you come here with a resolution for some speed limits here in the next week or two.
Do you have to have the sheriff go out and look too, or not, on those?
That is something that we will coordinate with the sheriff.
Good.
I know the very first change in traffic devices, we did not coordinate with the sheriffs very much. It wasn't a very major deal, but ever since, we've been working with their office to make sure we are on the same page and in agreement.
Good.
Lonnie, I'm sorry. Corey, what would the sign be that has the flashing light when you're going into Tabor? I think that's pretty awesome, and it tells you,
Oh, it gives you your speed?
giving you your speed. I mean, are those pretty expensive? Is that
Very.
just another warning?
They are expensive. It's mainly just a warning, something to grab the driver's attention to say, hey, you're speeding, slow down.
It's right under the speed limit sign, too. So it's-
I do know that LTAP, local, what does that stand for? It's a state agency that helps out local communities and counties. I'm pretty sure they have one, and we could apply to have them set it up at specific locations.
That'd just be interesting.
But
And they're run by solar, right? So they're not,
some of them are.
okay.
Most of them are.
Most of them are.
Just because of the portable nature of them. But I might follow up with
It'd be
LTAP
kind
and
of
see if,
interesting, just to see what, give you a little extra precaution.
and we would need to come up with an area for it. whether it's coming into town, or coming into Glenwood, coming into Malvern, uh, you know, where we see the worst
Yeah.
speeding. We probably have to determine that location.
Well, whatever you do, don't put it on Levi.
uh, I also was approached by Emerson, city clerk. They would like just try to slow down traffic coming into Emerson from the east on H34. Uh, since that roadway is a farm to market extension and Emerson's under 500 people, according to Iowa code, jurisdiction lays is within the county board. And so any changes to traffic control devices, signs, would have to be approved by this board. And we do have a 2080 agreement for maintenance, and in that 2080 agreement, it says jurisdiction goes to the city. But I also found I researched, there is a 2013 letter from the Attorney General with a specific question. If a city has a 2080 agreement with the county for these farm to market extensions, do they have the authority to put up traffic control devices? And it was AG's opinion that no, jurisdiction still lies within the county, just because there's a 2080 agreement. It, he compared it to a subcontractor or contractor doing maintenance on your roadway. That, you may pay them, or they may get money to do snow removal, patching, and any other kind of maintenance, but the authority still is the county. So I encourage Emerson to look at um, some sign modifications instead of putting up new signage. In fact, the speed limit, the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign is actually outside of city limits, so it's on the county right away. And I suggested we could put up some uh, red flags on top of the sign, put up a retroflective panel on the post, just some things to try to grab drivers' attentions a little more, and
Get through there pretty good.
and just kind of step up, or give yourselves the ability to do more later if things don't work out, instead of going straight to stop signs or
Yeah.
or something more expensive or requiring a little bit more work. So I haven't heard back from them yet. That was kind of my two general discussion items. As far as what we're doing now, we're hauling we're hauling rock out of our stockpile since the quarry and the county is not producing currently. So we're trying to do as much work from a distance. Rocking and blading is a way for our guys to not be around each other, performing our social distancing. Um, It'd be great if there was rock available in the county so we could do more of that. But we're kind of just spot rocking our problem areas. We're not doing any project rock, which when I say project rock, that'd be more like intersection to intersection, the full length of the road. But we're just kind of doing spot rock. We'll probably be hauling in some rock from Macedonia, um, or trying to do some of this spot rock on the eastern side of the county from that quarry in Macedonia. But
Stinnett still have any rocket? over
Stinnett
there?
has some too. So that's, yeah, Stinnett and Donny have some rock. And then if we do anything on the west side, we've been getting it from Springfield. And that's when we did 180th the other week. But I don't like having to travel 30 miles one direction to get rock.
Right.
So we've been working down our stockpile actually, and want to avoid doing that too, just in case we do have some flooding and we're gonna need that rock. So when people call and ask for rock, I tell them, that's the first thing I tell them is it'd be great if we had some rock available to do some more work, but it's just, you know, area counties, Army Corps, Railroad. I mean, ever since the flood hit a year ago, finding aggregate's been very difficult, so.
They depleted the supply pretty bad, didn't they?
Yep.
They sure did.
I had just 2 complaints, and both of them was on the, one of them was down there in Hughes' roadway, where he was coming out on the highway with mud, slime. And then Cade Creek also, where they was coming off the levee road onto ours again.
Who's doing the cake thing though? Is that the
Drainage
DNR?
district.
Oh, the drainage district.
They've been pretty responsive when we've had complaints and we've talked to them, so relay that message to me and I'll make sure they get a broom out there or blade out there.
Both of them know, I mean, Al, or Mark knows that he's supposed to keep that roadway clean, and
He poured that approach there too, or the
I'm
pad.
hoping when the
It helped.
landfill out there puts their new road and stuff in, that they hard surface it. Cause 34 is a real pain, like the other day when it was just a misty like, what they track on there. I mean, you can actually just feel yourself, even at 55 miles an hour, you feel like you're not quite on the surface.
It's like a real thin
For almost,
slime, isn't
almost
it?
for 3/4 of a mile
Yeah.
each direction. And I've been in contact with them, I says, you can tell they have what they call, they hired a guy that they call, his official name is trash pickup. I says, you could extend that, past 275 west. I says, I have cornfields and bean fields on both sides of pavement that have, I guess I'll call you when my planter or whatever plugs up with plastic. I says, I'll call you. He says, we will try and get over there and pick it up. But I mean, it's pathetic. And it's not their trucks mainly, it's everybody's trucks. They're not cleaning them out. I have cornfields and bean fields. They just dump them, go from there. So, and they've been, I don't know what they've been breaking into over there, but boy, I'm beginning to get the smell once in a while too, so, when the wind's in the east.
Apparently that's coming up for the Board of Review. That's one of the big things out there. They're trying to make sure they can have that meeting. There's a lot of not happy people that live in that subdivision.
Well, and they've been
The
across
smell
and
and the whole 9 yards.
talked to them, and offered to put up tree buffers and everything else for them, and they don't want anything to do for them. Well, I'm sorry I'm not sticking up for the landfill, but the landfill was there when Hughes built over here. And everybody said, how the hell is this gonna work? Well,
Did they
every
not
lot is
know
sold.
there was a landfill right across the road?
Well, the landfill is wanting to buy, they don't own the
Land to
40 acres that comes to the highway. They want to buy it, and then they want to plant a forest from ownership to ownership, from fence to fence.
Oh.
So you would not be able to see in years, you wouldn't be able to see the landfill. They won't come any further north with the landfill because of the water in that valley up there. Then they're gonna buy 80 acres on the east side of the road off of, that used to be Shook property, now Foos owns it.
Oh,
So
is that gonna be in the near future?
they're wanting to buy it now,
Now,
so they'll have it.
They were gonna have a meeting at their Board of
And
Adjustments.
we got canceled,
They got canceled.
everything on that Tuesday, when we went,
oh, sure.
closed everything down, so Darren canceled it, and they'll be one of the first ones back on the agenda.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 o'clock. We will now open the public hearing at 10 a.m. Should we have a motion to open the public hearing?
I make a motion?
Second?
We've got a motion by Vinton, second by Crouch, to open the public hearing at 10 a.m. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed, same sign. Give it a few minutes here. If there's any written or oral comments that need to come in by those of you listening, please feel free to share.
I have, in front of me, and you all do too, the copy of the budget. We had, as required by law, the first hearing. The legislature has now made us do 2 hearings, for our budget. The one which calls it the maximum levy, and I think that confuses a lot of people because I don't think they realize what our what our levies are and how that works. So our general levy is $3.50 per 1,000 of valuation. Obviously, most of the things that we have in the county are in the general fund, a good share of them. This does not fund the whole general fund. So therefore, we can't levy to the max. We also have the general supplemental fund and the rural services fund. Rural service fund is at its max for $3.95. Now, does that meet the criteria of all? No. We are into our reserves, as always, trying to keep things down so that the taxpayers, aren't seeing a big burden. We have, and so that is a very misleading when it says the maximum, anything over 2%. Well, all we had to do is have an insurance increase, and you're over 2% in all of that. I thought, during our budget meetings, the departments all did really good trying to stay within their guidelines
They all
and
did.
keeping them down. And there was only the really large ones that you guys really had to have a chat with them and, pull some stuff out just so, because we don't know what's coming up with the valuation for the next year when, with the loss of the values of all the Pacific Junction city property and the rural property.
You lose 180 homes roughly, it's going to affect you.
Absolutely. So I know, like I said, I think people get concerned. So this hearing actually will be our final hearing, and we will certify this budget to the state. But that first one is just mostly to let you know if you went over 2%. And when you see those levies on there, that is the levies. There is not a county in the state of Iowa that is under $3.50 for a levy. So that's one thing. You just can't operate that way. That's just my 2 cents. And the budget was in the paper and published, and I think it was on the website. It may not have been. I'm not 100% sure. We may not have gotten it on there, but always available to answer questions if people have them.
Okay. Any other written or oral comments coming in? We'll give them a few minutes here.
Keep dropping off.
Should I?
Anything yet?
Nothing yet? Okay. Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Should we wait?
Don't have to, don't we? I mean,
Who's our IT guy? Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 20-14 FY 2021 budget?
So moved.
Second it.
Got a motion by Crouch, second by Vinton. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, we will do a roll call vote since it's a resolution.
Mayberry,
Yes.
Crouch,
Yes.
Vinton.
Yes.
Okay, I need you
Motion
guys.
carries 3-0.
I need you all to sign on mine,
On our line.
yeah, on your
Give
line.
me your blue pen.
And there.
I'll give it
Like
back to you.
15 blue pens.
I'll give it back to you.
No, you're not. And I need
Had one in my pocket, I
these
just
two
wanted to
both
see if
signed
you
by
give
you,
me
Lonnie,
yours.
on here, the bottom line. So then it gets to do that one.
Writes very well.
Yeah, there, try that one.
Ooh, this is like a new one.
Richard, look, see? I got one here.
The auditor.
Okay, thank you.
What are you pointing out?
Huh?
What are you pointing out up there?
Thank you. I'm gonna check yes next to hers.
Yeah, make sure you check yes. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discuss formal action to approve resolution 20-15 for budget preparation. Carol, you wanna brief us on that quick?
I do. I think this county is so well blessed with such an auditor that I don't know what we would ever do without Carol. All through the disaster of our flood, Carol was there at every meeting. She has answered many, many calls. She has been at the counter with, families that are upset. They wanted to know why and how come. I cannot thank her, and I know us Board of Supervisors are so well blessed that we have Carol beside us. I would like, because she has gone far and beyond her duties, I want to give her a stipend of a $5,000, which compensates all her extra duties that she's prepared, extra elections. You guys, it just goes on and on. The hours, the phone calls, the travels. So this is why I firmly believe our auditor needs a little thank you.
And with any conversation, this is a common thing. Most of the counties are doing this and have been doing this for several years. And we just never have. I do appreciate it. And it is an annual thing, so each year it can be approved or not, put on board, whatever. And the one thing I will say, we will be getting money back from the FEMA flood recovery fund to offset any of these expenditures, so.
So with that, I guess I make the motion to approve the budget of the 2015 for giving our auditor a compensation of $5,000.
Second.
We have a motion by Benton, second by Crouch. Since this is a resolution, we will do a roll call vote.
Mayberry,
Nope.
Crouch,
Yes.
Vinton,
Yes.
Motion carries.
there you go. Yeah. You just have to sign the resolution. You don't have
Next item on the agenda is Resolution 20-16. This is to approve elected officials' salaries from the Compensation Board recommendations.
The compensation board met in January 8th, and they came back with the following recommendations. 3% increase for the county attorney, the board of supervisors, the recorder, and the treasurer, and the auditor and sheriff at 3.25. So that is what is reflected in this resolution.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I'll make the motion.
To approve?
I second.
We've got a motion to approve by Crouch, second by Vinton. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote?
Mayberry,
Yes.
Crouch,
Yes.
Vinton.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, I need you guys all to sign on that one, please.
Next item on the agenda is amendment to the CDBG payment number 48, contract 13 NDRI 008, University of Iowa number 30.
Okay, so with respect to this amendment, we had received information from MAPPA last week and we approved it they had 2 items on there. And apparently MAPPA didn't realize that they had already sent that, so then they had added ones, and I said, well, we approved that, and I said, do you want us to just amend? So we amended it all, and now we've added the whole
Together.
yeah, all of them together. So we now have University of Iowa for $12,335, the Sydney Argus Herald, which was on there last time, for $66, MAPPA $5,661, and Golden Hills RC&D for $6,367. So we amended that and we'll send that one in.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve.
I second.
we got a motion by Crouch, second by Vinton to approve. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 3-0.
Okay, Lonnie, you need to put today's date in and sign on the line, please.
Okay.
Okay, then the next item on the agenda, which is for the chair to sign the CEO change for the CDBG 13 NDRI 008. Every time we change elected officials, they have to have a new form signed, and they didn't realize that they hadn't done anything since January, so we need to authorize the chair, current chair, Lonnie Mayberry, to sign this agreement so we can get it on file.
Well, that's only been since January.
It's only time.
Well, I make a motion to authorize our chair to sign the CDBG.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize the chair to sign the CEO change for CDBG 13, NDRI 008. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries
There you
3 to
go,
nothing.
Mr. CEO. Sign away.
Sign away.
Give it your best handwriting.
CEO.
Didn't know you was important, did you?
Sign like a doctor.
I sign my name a lot.
He does.
Our next item on the agenda is to authorize the auditor to contact applicants for the P and Z board to set up interviews. Are we gonna do interviews or just visit about it, or?
I was gonna say, you guys had 2 applicants. I think you had an opportunity to look over both of them. I think, with respect to where the boards are, we had a male and a female, both equally, would be
Capable?
equally capable, yeah.
Right.
So probably because you have, just a suggestion, because you have so much trouble filling, the female gender spot, maybe that would be what you would want to do, but that is entirely up to you.
We want a motion on this before we,
Now, what
Discuss
we'll
it,
do is,
or-
yeah, you can, what I was gonna say,
Motion in a second,
Yeah.
then we'll discuss it.
okay, I'll
Okay.
make a motion to approve an applicant for the P and Z board and not to have interviews. Is that what you wanna do? Okay,
so
Yeah.
probably you're just gonna say, make the motion to not do interviews, and then I'll
Right,
put it on
right.
for approval next week on
Okay.
your agenda as
Okay.
to who you're going to appoint. Would that work?
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
That way we can contact them to make sure that both of them, that the person that's applied is still interested.
Okay. And I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
well, I'll say on behalf of the 2 applicants, I read them and they're both very well qualified.
Yes.
One of our dilemmas that we have here in Mills County and across the state is finding female applicants to apply for boards. And being as we have a female applicant leaving, I feel that we should replace the person with the one of the female applicant. I think she's a very qualified, person, so that's my discussion on it.
I agree with you, Mr. Crouch.
Very well said. I so agree. They were both very good, but I think we should, if we lose a female, we should replace it with a female. Keep the board even.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
So Carol, do you want to put that on for the meeting next week?
I will do that. I will contact individuals if
Okay.
they're still willing to serve, and which I'm sure they are, but just to double check, and I will get on that.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is FMLA paperwork for a county employee. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. Motion carries 3 to nothing. At 11 o'clock, we will have Julie Lines and the Emergency Management Director come in and give us an update on the COVID-19. Make sure all of you that are listening, tune in then, please. Until then, we will take a break until 11 o'clock. Thank you. right, it is almost 11 o'clock. We have Public Health and Emergency Management here to give us a brief update on what's going on in our world. Julie?
As of yesterday, we had 424 positive cases in Iowa. That was about an 80-person jump from one day to the next. Numbers haven't been released yet for today, but we are expecting numbers to continue to climb. You will notice that we don't have any positive cases in Mills County, but that does not mean that we don't have
Yep.
COVID-19 activity and concerns here. We are spending a lot of time pushing out information to the community, to our long-term care facilities. For instance, last night in the early evening, it was a beautiful day. Sun was out, drove by the courts. There were probably in excess of 40 young men playing basketball in a large group, very physical. I've raised a house full of boys. I get it, right? It's a beautiful day and they've been cooped up. However, that is really not in line with our social isolating policies that we have going on right now. So I did have an opportunity to speak with our police chief, and a lot of questions sort of bubbled up as a result of that. So what kind of sporting activities are we encouraging versus what are we discouraging? We definitely want people to be outside, enjoy the sunshine, get activity, because I think that's very important right now with the isolation practices in place.
Yeah.
But we also want to really focus on doing that safely. So as a result of kind of the spark that happened with the large group of young men playing ball, we did have a chance to reach out to our partners at the state and inquire about this and get some direction. And as a result of that, I drafted the should youth be playing ball during the outbreak, worked with Larry to kind of get a press release going. We are really going to encourage right now that the risk of transmission is currently high in our state and in our area, and we should not be naive about that. And we are specifically encouraging that if you are doing anything that involves a ball, it's not a good idea. So right now, the city is
Or
putting,
Frisbee.
or a Frisbee, that common touch thing. So the city is going to lock down their facilities effective immediately. We've reached out to our school superintendents and shared this correspondence with them and invited them if they had any questions. So we are really looking at basketball would be a hard no. That's a close contact physical sport. Then that begs the question of, can you play tennis? Can you play golf? Can your kid play soccer? And so all of these questions kind of cascade as a result of that. And so we've put this policy in conjunction with emergency management out to the public. And one other thing kind of to go along with that is we are currently signing up for, as of today, local alerts, which is something that's going to be available on Facebook. The purpose is to send urgent need-to-know messages on the local level in response to COVID-19. And they are inviting agencies that have a page. If you are local government, public health, or a first responder, you are eligible to get one of these local alerts. It's the little warning triangle, and then with the exclamation point in it. It's for city government, county government, law enforcement, and emergency responders. It's a free tool that they've got up and running to broadcast essential updates to Facebook. And I have information if Larry, if you want to sign that up, you can, and local government can, first responders. The guidelines are to use it sparingly to get essential information out that are emergencies or need to know on a timely information only basis.
You mentioned the city would be shutting their, with the basketball court. How about the park? Are they gonna shut the walking trail? Will that still be open?
Currently, I understand that the park is open, that the play equipment is roped off.
Yeah, I did hear that,
And
right?
so
Right.
to get out, to walk around the park, as long as we only want you in close contact with your immediate family.
Sure.
If they don't live in your house,
Yep.
you shouldn't be in a group with them, and you should maintain 6 feet distance.
Period.
Period. So the rule of thumb now is if you
Just
don't
wanted my
live with
kids to hear
them, you
this if they're
shouldn't be
listening.
with them.
You just need to monitor. I think it's just to monitor, we need to monitor that probably. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I agree.
And
they wanna
then
close it, don't-
we kind of have this ongoing situation with our highest risk population. For example, with our food pantries, you'll know that we have several food pantries here in Mills County,
Yes.
and our volunteers who serve there are over 60 with underlying health conditions, and they are determined to make sure that food is available, which is a high priority.
Well, they're high school kids that are unloading it right now.
Well, and we have other pantries that don't have any screening process in place, and so we're working really hard to make sure that people are aware that there are options to keep our food pantries open and replace our volunteers temporarily with people who are not high risk. And, the pushback is that's really going to mess up what we're trying to do here. They're not going to be trained. And what we're trying to message to people is we fully understand that what we're asking you to do is hard and that it's upsetting your standard practice. And we realize the level of disruption that we're causing, and we're asking you to do it anyway. And we're offering any additional support you need to make it happen. And we cannot overemphasize to our county residents the importance of social distancing right now. We have not peaked with COVID-19.
At all.
We will know in the next 2 weeks where we're at. And so I would say that we are fielding conversations over the phone all day long about signs, symptoms, how to isolate, what parameters you should operate within, how you know when you are well, concerns with going to work or staying home, and just all those informational questions that we're getting and trying really hard to push good information out.
You mentioned the school too. There's some of the kids will go down and use the soccer fields and football fields. Are they gonna close those off? Are they gonna monitor them more? Are they gonna, there's just, the groups down there playing catch, frisbee, football,
So
soccer.
first thing is, we would say with this press release, anything that involves a ball. So if
No.
you're, and we can use that kind of liberally. So
Sure.
a ball, a
Frisbee,
frisbee,
okay.
any of those things, tossing back and forth, not a good practice right now.
Okay.
However, if you want to get out and walk around and you want to maintain
Sure.
6 feet distance
It's
with
different.
anyone you don't live with, that would be okay.
So basically, in your own family setting, backyard, playing the ball, playing frisbee, you have a containment piece already as a family core, so you'd probably be okay doing that in your backyard, but not out in the cul-de-sac, with the neighbor
With the neighbor
kids. Then you're co-mingling and causing potentiality, so that would be an example.
Well, and what's so sad about the volunteering thing, it's like when you look up there and you say 20 to 55 and it's like, I'm over 55, I'm healthy, it's like really hard because a lot of these people that are volunteering are very healthy and it's really hard for us to realize we're a vulnerable population, even
Right.
though we're not. And it's like, those are the people that want to volunteer.
We would like to see 100% of businesses that are open because they're providing an essential service. We would still like them to have some screening implemented. So when a worker comes in, hey, how are you doing? Do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Do you have any problems breathing? And to do that screening, possibly even take their temperature. And then for like the food pantries, we need them not to have the general public coming in. And if they are having any contact with the general public, they also need to be doing those screening measures. And currently, we don't have everybody fully on board, but what we're doing is getting out, doing face-to-face messaging and encouraging people, and then overcoming hurdles. Because when you ask people to change their practice, there are hurdles.
Yeah.
And so we have to mitigate those and make it possible for people to do what we need to do right now.
But right now, Mills County does not, we are zero.
No,
We
we
still-
don't have any positive confirmed cases.
Okay,
But we have very active COVID-19 signs, symptoms. We have people on isolation.
okay.
Again,
I want people to know that.
It comes back to 80% of people who get COVID-19 will be sick, will stay home, and will recover, and will probably never need medical intervention. So what we want to do is, if you right now have COVID-19, but you're not symptomatic, the safest thing we could do is not be in a small group together, and we would have 6 feet distance between you and your partners. If you then in 2 days become symptomatic, you haven't unintentionally exposed. For instance, if we're in a small group and we're not maintaining 6 feet distance and you become symptomatic, then we all have to stay home for 14 days. So that distancing and being in small groups, and if you don't live in the house with them, you shouldn't be with them. We need to really put that into play. And I don't know when we will ever get necessarily a confirmed case. We have a number of testing that's underway right now, but we have a lot of COVID-19 activity.
Julie,
So I wouldn't hang your
okay.
hat on, we have 0 tested positive.
People will always come up and say, how are we in Mills County? Because they haven't heard
Yeah.
what is the result of this.
Julie, don't you think now
Then
maybe
they can now buy our
since
toilet paper.
everybody's been home a little bit now and they're still home and they're getting stir crazy and what have you, but it's like, well, hey, this is gonna keep going until you actually, maybe they'll get that point and start really taking it serious. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you
Yeah.
think? I don't know.
I think it's a mixed bag, and I understand what you're asking. I would also think, by and large, as a community, I think we've had really good compliance. Not perfect and not flawless, but I have to tell you the level of county support that we've gotten to implement these restrictive practices, the amount of support that we get from the city officials, and then I have to tell you, our law enforcement is 100% behind making sure that we're doing what we're doing. And I think that we are pushing good information out there, and people are going to have to make informed decisions. And one thing that we're really pushing for is sometimes the best enforcement is all of us.
Right.
So this is not the time to be shy or to refrain or to point out, all those important things we're supposed to be doing. So lean on your children to comply. Lean on your coworkers to comply. Absolutely mandate that the people you supervise are in complete compliance with what we're trying to do here, because it's gonna play out to be very important, especially I think in the next couple of weeks.
You mentioned the food pantries, Julie. How would they get supplies to the people in need? Is that something that they would tell them to come by and pick it up outside? Is
We
it
would
something?
love to set up curbside service.
Okay.
We would love for the general public to be able to remain in
You
their
just hate to see
vehicle.
it stop. So
Hmm?
you just hate to see that service stop
No.
because some people need it.
And we would consider that an essential service.
Sure.
So getting food is a high priority thing, and
Right.
we want to help people who are on isolation right now be able to comply.
Right.
So
Even-
we need
even
to be able to
delivery.
get food to them, either delivery or curbside,
Okay.
so we can make any accommodation they need and still get the food.
Good.
Any questions?
Julie,
Take
I
us
think
right now.
for the people that are listening, I think the second paragraph, would you read that so they would all, this is a very good report right here.
Okay. Sure. So I'll just read that second paragraph. It says, in Iowa, the risk of transmission is currently high, and the CDC recommends the cancellation of community gatherings of any size. The coming weeks are critical in limiting the spread of the virus, which is highly contagious. Mills County Public Health absolutely urges all organized and spontaneous youth sports activities to stop, because it is so critical to do our part to contain this deadly virus. And it says youth sports there, and as soon as I read it, what really popped out to me is this is not isolated to youth. If you are a young adult, a full adult, a middle-aged adult or better, you should not be participating in either spontaneous or organized sports at the current time. Outdoor activity is encouraged.
Get out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we thank you. I know
You
that
bet.
the clock just it changes, not daily, not weekly, but hourly.
One thing that I would just throw out there is when we do get confirmed cases in our county, there will be a significant amount of surveillance that public health is going to be required to do. So when those positive cases start coming in, we will have to track them as a public health entity. We will have to know where they've been, where exposures have been, what family members, that whole surveillance package.
Sure.
We are going to need to have emergency plan to have more support for personnel should those numbers increase at the level we anticipate that they might. And the governor has loosened some restrictions on who we could pull in to assist us in those measures, and we've sort of got a tentative plan that we're looking at, and then we'll visit if and when that becomes a necessity. At the current time, we're holding pretty good with our present services and staff that we have.
Is there any technology, additional technology you need in advance of that? iPads, laptops, hotspots? Are you actually taking technology out to people's houses to do anything?
Everything we're doing is in the office. It would be in the office.
Okay.
That, I will think on that though. That'll be, we want to have everything in place and be
Sure.
ready, and then we genuinely hope we don't have to exercise some of the options that we have in play.
We're gonna have it, not need it, and need
Yeah.
it, not have it. Well, come see us again next week if you can. If not, keep us
Question-
involved
We
or
can
via
just plan
email
on
or
stopping
whatever.
by.
I
Question
would.
before you leave. You know, you sit on the campus up there and you've got all the houses with the clients and stuff. We've got Glen Haven, we've got On With Life, some of the school systems up there. Are you communicatable with everybody? I know the other day when we had questions, or I had parents coming down my throat, literally, because they couldn't get answers about the tests and stuff that were going on. I said, I cannot put that out. I said, I don't know.
I spoke with Marcia yesterday.
Okay.
She's the acting superintendent at the GRC. We speak with the On With Life Director of Nursing daily. So these long-term care facilities that have a clientele that just, their risk is through the roof.
They're above.
And if we had an infection, it would have really big
Right.
consequences. So we are having daily contact with them and offering whatever support and services that we can. And I would say that the concern is high, and that I think all those entities are taking extraordinary methods and means to protect their population, because we know
Also,
the risk is concerning.
yesterday through Isaac and stuff, they've had several people contact them about HIPAA compliance. What you can take with you, what you can remove from, well, I'll just put this, what you can remove from your office and take home and be legal. All that the attorney said up there was, tell everybody to be very cautious. If you have any questions, call us or call an attorney, get an opinion before you get caught. I mean, I don't know how they would do it, but I mean,
You mean in a virtual situation
Right.
where working from home?
Right,
Something
right.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, those are always concerned, there's methods, and it's just like when the preparation that Julie talked about, and having a plan, at least an idea how we're going to do this. We've got information from the state Justice Department about if we did have something positively happen, how are we going to notify our first responders? And we have a strategy here that the health board has to, of course, approve to do that, control that information, protect it. And so we would have a process in place actually it's going to be within the comm centers where it's going to reside in close coordination with public health. And that's the tightest we can get for advice we're getting from the state to protect our first responders and the people we serve. So those things have been discussed already. And kind of I've got the supervisor down there looking at how we have a process now we do anyway. It's similar to this. So all we're doing is just entering this information and managing it as necessary. So we ensure that once this does happen, that we can manage it effectively, keep control of it, maintain the privacy and the HIPAA guidance criteria, et cetera. So that's been discussed.
And I understand, since we are one of the counties in Iowa that we don't have a hospital,
Makes it hard.
makes it very difficult.
does.
So I hope everybody understands how we as the Mills County are very, very concerned. Yeah,
Thank you.
so kudos to you guys. Hang in there.
Well, we appreciate your support.
There's no we can do for you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Well,
you, guys.
All right, take care.
Move on.
If I hear anything, I will give you a call.
Okay, appreciate it, Richard.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lori.
See you guys later.
Okay. Well, that about wraps everything up, guys.
One thing,
Hold on, Larry's got something to say.
did you advise the board about the generator last, yet?
Yeah.
All right, Friday, our generator developed a leak. We had the generator company come down and they pressure tested it and the radiator is poop. So 7-10 days for a new radiator. Our generator's down, which affects not only the courthouse, but affects that comm center. We do have a UPS in the back, a big, large UPS, but it doesn't give me days, it gives me hours. So, we're in day 4.5 probably. We're in day 4.5 probably of that. So the question is, and I've looked at the long-range forecast, and right now, we're not anticipating severe weather, but we could get a brownout, and that's, so my question, so I'm gonna be calling Ben Lundstrom up. We'd have to have him to come in, or the company, one of the companies in Omaha to come in to determine the size and possibly bring large portable generator and wheels, or see if the 80 kW generator I have for the states that I store down at the bus barn, if that one would be suitable for the courthouse. We do have the switch in the Sally port that they built when they built that extension on to interface, and Ben is familiar with doing that type of work. So I don't know, I've talked to Carol about it a little bit, but not a lot, about do we need, as a contingency, to get a leased generator in here until we get that new and get the generator back online? And that's basically the biggest risk.
What is our service didn't our service contract cover anything like that?
I don't think it does, no. In fact, the
Why?
company we get our service contract with, they sold all of their portable generators to United Rental, and he told me that last Friday. And then we have Caterpillar in Omaha would be another source. United Rental, Caterpillar, they do in Omaha do rent generators. But yeah, that's the first thing I asked him, and it's not in our contract anyway. But they did sell. They got out of the business of rental generators.
I thought we had a generator down stored at Kevin's too. We don't have one down there.
No, that's where the 80 kW was for a while before it was moved down to when the Merchant Management Commission bought into that quarter part of that building with the school district down there. The generator was moved down there and staged down there from Kevin. It moved from behind the engineers down there. So it's been down there. We have to maintain maintenance on it.
The only thing I would say, so they're gonna guarantee you they're gonna be here in 7 days.
They said 7 to 10 days
It will be
is
down.
what the drop date is on the radiator. And then they gotta come down and install it,
I
which
can't believe that, but
I know. So I think that I need to maintain contact with them, and that's Cummins, of course.
They're taking it away.
No. It needs a new radiator. So
But they're
basically,
doing it on site, or?
they would do it on site. It would be done on site.
But
So
we're just in day 4.
we're in day 4. I'd say going in day 5. This was Friday, so if you want to
Okay.
count Friday as the first day, when they got down here in the morning to troubleshoot it and find out what was wrong. So, but doing any pressure tests, they had fluid everywhere.
Coming out of the radiator.
So that's one thing after that.
Mm.
So
Okay,
there is a risk here, and that's the reason why I thought I'd call Ben and have him, let's just
I would definitely get him in and take a look at the generator you have down there.
see if it will spec
See
out.
if
Right.
it'll spec out. If it doesn't, I
Right.
would be looking at something.
The other thing I want to look at is that where that hookup is in the Sally port, is that just for what we call the COP system, which is the critical operation
It
system?
only serves the public
Comm
safety,
center?
so it
Okay.
wouldn't service the elevator
Courthouse?
or the
That'd be
rest of the
fine.
buildings.
So if that's the case, then we wouldn't need as big of a generator in there.
And you really only need it to run, those 10 seconds till the UPS kicks on. You've got 6 to 8 hours of runtime with the UPS.
Yeah,
If utility was off for more than that, then yeah, you need the
you'd
generator.
have some trouble.
But
I know at the tower, years ago, we did was they took a 25 kW and rented it from United Supplier and parked it up there when our generator was down up there and they were replacing it. And Ben just the existing switch, he just wired in the generator on wheels during that time. And it was there, it would auto start, if the tower lost power, things of that nature. So we've done this before and he's done it before, but yeah, that's why, and we replaced those batteries here this last X
Yeah.
months,
it gives you a good amount of runtime. So
so,
it'd have to be a major thing where utility power's out for more than 8 hours.
Yeah.
which can happen, but weather forecast looks good for next week, you said maybe.
Yeah,
so-
we're not too bad a shape here through the week, so, and we're not getting steely hot, so I would think that we should be okay, but, I guess I'd just call Ben and just for contingency purposes. If I had to bring a generator in, we probably, I think minimum 25
Oh,
kW
yeah,
probably.
80 kW would be more than
Be
enough,
overkill.
but will it interface with that switch is the only.
That's the thing I wanna find out, because there's several different types of switches.
Wow.
Anyway, keep us updated.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, thank you for tuning in. Sure we'll see you all next week. Thank you.